Okay, so it's day 11. Right now it's Friday, the 21st, which interestingly enough is the summer solstice. But, so I guess in this video, this little vlog, and as you can see, obviously, as usual, according to my room, I wish I had a situation kind of like what Ian has, Truth of YouTube, where you can kind of just kind of go out and do whatever, but, yeah, I've actually done that in the past where I recorded video. I remember this one time I was sitting on campus and this like homeless guy walked up to me and wanted to have some conversation with me about stuff, and I was just like, I don't know. It was really awkward and uncomfortable and kind of annoying, to put it lightly. But that was way back when, and I think I was still working my way through to like the first like 90 days I'd ever gotten to. Um, but anyways, so a couple of things I wanted to cover. So it was basically like goals and then reflecting on some things. Because I honestly feel, especially like with the fact that I've graduated, I have to kind of figure out what's next and then go for that. Because um, otherwise, I'm just gonna like slide back into old ways and habits of boredom and such. And like I said, last video, come September, the internship's over. They're just putting that up on up on ice or on hiatus. So basically, anybody who's working there is gonna have to have someone else lined up or be going back to school or something. Um, and yeah, I am planning on taking classes, but it's through Open University, which means I have to basically pay for this stuff out of pocket. And being where I'm at in life right now, that means I have to have some sort of a job or paid internship going that I'm making enough to cover for for any of those expenses. So first off, I'm aiming for first milestone is 30 days, second milestone is 60 days, third milestone 90 days. Sort of classic thing. This time around, I'm not trying to sort of go through the whole weaning myself off approach. Tried that in the past and maybe like it worked once, but I had other things kind of pulling me forward that made it such that it didn't become an issue. But this time around, it's just 90 days. I think 30, then 60, then 90 days hard mode. Not really even thinking as hard mode, just that's NOFAP. Got to get your job and or internship lined up. I have an issue with this parking permit sort of deal because I've been getting a lot of parking tickets. But honestly, like the job internship thing comes first because I need the money to pay off any of the fines I have, and then just have it all squared away. So the job internship search is coming first, and I'm just gonna have to go after that full force the way I did for the last one, which opened up a lot of doors and has lasted over a year. So I've started taking cold showers. I'm not sure if I want to really make that a consistent thing as part of my sort of you know way forward. Like 30, 60, 90 day challenge, whatever, or period of transformation. But I find that that's actually a lot more helpful with me than hot showers, unless I'm going to take them right before I go to bed. As far as fitness is concerned, I think the most I do, and I'm not really sure about, again, like pursuing that right off the bat, but because maybe time and energy would be better spent elsewhere. But I think I just stick with like 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups per day. I'm not really sure about running because it's kind of worn down on my knees. If I get any cardio in, probably just walking, or if I can get to swimming, then I do that because that's like zero impact. Definitely think of intermittent fasting, meditation / prayer. But above all else, my main thrust this time is to get that new job, get that internship lined up, get relevant job skills. I have some books on things like Python and Java, and of course I have my old textbooks, which I feel at this point I'll actually have the time to kind of read through, sort of brush up my knowledge and build up on that for chemical engineering. And then I have all these ebooks from Dr. Stephen Abbott, who's a PhD or he holds a PhD in like I think organic chemistry, and he works in the printing industry, like printed electronics. So I've been reading his works. sort of expanding my knowledge in that area. I can add that to my LinkedIn or my my resume, so that I understand XYZ different printing technologies and that sort of deal. And then brushing up on any like biomedical device regulations type stuff. I'm starting to put that on my resume and then apply for different positions. That's my main focus right now. Is just getting that stuff lined up, because that'll be the real game changer and the real thing that's gonna like make anything else worthwhile. Because need that money for life. So they haven't been fencing. Wanted to get into snowboarding, but again we'll have to wait for other things to get taken care of before that's the case. But as well, I will be putting together like a list of books I want to read outside of technical stuff. I know Richard Hubert from Entrepreneurs in Cars. He has a list of like 7 books, like red pill books to read. I have at least a couple of them. And of course, he mentioned Maxwell Maltz book, which is something that Giza has mentioned in the past. And I'm also planning against the works on Stoic philosophy, but again, it's going to have to wait until finances are straightened out. And until then, I'll have to just kind of go with whatever stuff I can get for free, and will actually help me with job skills and knowledge, that sort of thing. So that's sort of the goals section. But the reflection deal was, I think I was kind of reflecting on sort of my motivation going forward, because one thing I've really disliked about my approach or my mindset or myself in the last, like, let's say 3 years, is that if I was pursuing any success, or say it was all about like trying to impress some girl, or get on good terms with some girl, that sort of thing. And as much as it forced me to in many ways get my act together, it also left me very vulnerable in case as was most likely going to happen. It really left me vulnerable to losing my motivation and drive. I mean, so many of my videos were me just ranting or rambling about feeling like nihilistic and such, because I did XYZ thing, which was actually a very great accomplishment, but it's like, the girl in question didn't respond the way I wanted her to respond, and it was like this sort of I don't know, almost kind of embarrassing and pathetic, and I mean, some might say creepy or psychotic way of looking at things and obsessing over that sort of stuff. And it's like I was gonna put this video together a few days ago, but basically I kind of thought back when I was like, I think it was like 13 or 14, and it was the time when it was the end of the 90s, beginning of 2000s. It's been a while, but basically, like, the Star Wars prequels are coming out. We'd all of us Star Wars fans who were really like following that sort of stuff, we'd heard about it on theforce.net. They were talking about it, and some of us who grew up in the 90s who were Star Wars fans, we followed the expanded universe. We read all these novels, comic books, we played video games, computer games, etc. And from within a subset of Star Wars RPG players, they started creating something called like Jedi realism. And of course, some folks, they want to be quote-unquote Jedi, or the light Jedi, I guess, as they eventually started being called. They wanted to be dark Jedi or Sith, and there were folks who created sort of what they called the Shadow Jedi, or even like Grey Jedi factions, and a lot of it was just like taking sort of, I guess fundamentally it was taking sort of the philosophical and literary inspirations for, the creating of the Jedi and the Sith and all that, and getting into like martial arts and meditation and mysticism and etc. and and magic as well, and sort of creating a philosophical system, a community, etc. with their titles and their ranks and their training and levels and such. That in many ways was about like self-improvement for different goals, kind of, I guess, being the closest thing to a real life Jedi, Sith, whatever, within the confines of reality and reasonability or reason, I guess. But I kind of got involved in that, and for a long time there was like me just being a really like crazed fan, an adolescent fan of Star Wars. But the interesting thing about that, and the reason I bring that up, is that I remember we're doing the lead up to the prequels, and I was obviously kind of wanting to want to be in the movies or be involved with them, and I guess some of it was sort of me as a kid wanting to sort of escape the world and thinking if I could be in a Star Wars movie for, even if it was just like a role for 5 minutes, I'd be in the Star Wars universe for 5 minutes, and I'd be, in that sort of otherworldly existence. And besides, I kind of had a crush on Natalie Portman, but that's a whole nother story. But interesting thing about that is that sort of this motivation for me to get up at like 5 or 6 a.m., and go out for a run, or to do, push-ups and crunches, and, to meditate and all this sort of stuff. And, it kind of looked at it in my mind as, oh, I'm training to be a Jedi, sort of thing, which is kind of, I guess, maybe cringy. But if you think of it from like looking at, as a kid, adult looking at a kid doing that, maybe it's kind of funny, but at the same time, maybe you can kind of see yourself as a kid, in a sense. Like different kids, different eras have had their fictional heroes, their inspirations and such, that they wanted to go for. And I know Jack Parsons had his, deal with science fiction and wanting to take all those rockets that they were talking about in these science fiction stories and make them real. And he was, from the early 20th century, So, this kind of stuff has naturally occurred. You want to go back to ancient Greece and Rome and China, India, etc. They all had their mythologies that motivated them or explained the world to them. But needless to say, I remember reading this book called I, Jedi about this character Corran Horn, and he was one of the earliest students of Luke Skywalker in his Jedi Academy. And in the book, he talked about like his training routine, how he'd get up and go running, on Yavin 4, and then he'd do his, I guess calisthenics and different meditations, and then training with the lightsaber and so on. It became almost sort of a Bible of sorts for a lot of us, I think, in the Jedi realist community. But the reason I look at that and, bring this up all these years later is that it's kind of like in some sense, I sort of want that kind of mentality back, that, if I'm going to pursue excellence, whether it's, getting the best shape of my life or getting that job, that money, learning something, I want it to be with that sort of mindset of, like, I'm not trying to pursue some person's approval, or I'm not trying to, get some certain girl or so. I want it to be sort of for some almost like nebulous, otherworldly sort of aspiration. And that's kind of why I gravitated towards, the philosophy of Thelema and mysticism of Thelema, and that, it's all this talk about, attaining knowledge and conversation with your holy guardian angel, finding out your true will, carrying that out, crossing that abyss, attaining the heights of development, sort of like self-actualization, like what Abraham Maslow talks about. Excuse me, but sort of like I have to formulate what that is to me, and I in many ways I do want that sort of that mindset, or what you want to call it, that I had back when I was 13 or 14, and that much into those. That sort of mythology of sorts, and having that kind of drive and those aims and goals and such. Because the side effect was that I got into some pretty decent shape for being that age, and I read a lot of books. I became very well read. I became focused because I was meditating, all of that. But at the same time, like, I wasn't doing it because there was some girl at my school I had a crush on, and I was trying to like impress her because I wanted to show up to school with muscles and all that kind of stuff. It was more like, I'm training to be this, to be as close to the real thing as I can of this, this mythology that I'm following, I don't know necessarily what form that would take nowadays. I think about the Bremen operation, and, you know, the HDA and the true will of the individual and so on. But anyways, sort of have my focus figured out. I think I know what I need to drive towards. Get those job skills, get that resume, you know, straightened out, and start just applying left and right. Because I mean, I've done it before. I may end up having to do some sort of ritual towards that end because that's what I did last time and it worked. But got to make sure I got enough momentum behind it so that I can actually manifest, you know, what I wanted to manifest. So, anywho, I'm gonna go take a cold shower and I might go into work for a few hours. I'm not really sure, but anywho, I'll see you folks around. Thanks for watching. Bye.